Do we even need to say it? The coronavirus pandemic has totally upended the world of dating. From socially distant coffee dates to doom swiping, single people have been navigating the choppy waters of dating during a legit global pandemic as best as humanly possible. So let's walk through some of the absolute worst dating trends from the 2010s, and let's make sure they don't come back after the pandemic. Full disclosure, I'm actually the person who coined this term back in 2018. Orbiting is when you stop answering someone's text or other modes of communication, but you're still lurking around elsewhere online, like viewing their Instagram or Snapchat stories. What drew me to write about orbiting back then was that it can only happen in our current moment in time. Ghosting, even though it was technically first coined on Urban Dictionary in 2009, has existed for eons. You didn't get a call, or a carrier pigeon, or an ancient scrollback, or whatever. But orbiting, it can only exist in a time where Instagram and Snapchat do. Let's put it to rest, please. This is a bit like ghosting, but it's really in its own separate category. Cloaking is when a potential suitor dons some sort of metaphorical invisibility cloak after setting up a date. They might block you on the app you matched on, or whatever communication app you're talking on, so you can't even keep contact, even if you wanted to. It's like standing someone up, but somehow worse. Submarining is a term for when someone hasn't contacted you for a while, then all of a sudden comes to the surface with a random text. Every time it happens, I wish we still lived in the Little Women days, when someone had to write a letter by candlelight in order to reach me. Sapiosexuals claim to be more attracted to someone's intelligence rather than their appearance, or at least find high intelligence as being turned on in some form. Fine, good. But on dating apps, having sapiosexual in your profile is just as bad as some dude with a picture of himself holding a fish. Look, no one in their right mind wants to date a moron, so please stop putting sapiosexual in your dating app profile. Dating apps are here to stay, and it's more and more likely that you'll find your partner on one. I understand the hesitation to be vulnerable on dating apps, but if you actually want to meet people you're compatible with, it's the only way. In the 2020s, here's my proposition. Out with the nonsensical, slightly insulting bios with a bad photo of you from 5 years ago and an office quote at the bottom, and in with profiles that actually help you shine. Kittenfishing is like catfishing, using old or edited photos, exaggerating your interests to seem more appealing, etc., etc. But again, we want dating after the pandemic to not suck, so stop doing this. Here's how to spot someone who's cryptomancing. They're probably a man, and after a few introductory questions, they're already explaining why they've invested in Bitcoin. No one wants to hear about Bitcoin, let alone when you're trying to get a date. If you're a Bitcoin billionaire, just say it when you take your date on the Ubercopter and leave it at that. As the name suggests, this is when someone isolates you, their partner, from the rest of their people in their life. We're not going to date someone seriously in the 2020s, after the pandemic, and not meet their friends and family. Nope. I would make an exception for queer couples and families. There could be a lot going on there that I don't have time to unpack in a top 10 list. But in that case, meet their friends. Cushioning is basically cheating. It's stringing people along in case your current relationship doesn't work out, thus leaving a cushion. Please, do not do this. Non-monogamy has garnered a lot of mainstream coverage in the last decade. Maybe consider it. And if your partner isn't into it, just be monogamous or break it off, without a cushion to fall back on. Breadcrumbing is when someone sends flirty messages on dating apps, but will never actually meet you in real life. I understand why it happens. It's an easy route for people to take. They're not on apps to actually meet. They're there for the ego boost, for pen pals, or because they're just plain lonely. Let's all pledge not to waste anyone's time in the 2020s, including our own. If you notice someone doing this to you, you have the power to let it go and find someone else who won't resort to being so deeply uncool. Here's to a new decade with higher dating standards.